again. So with this one, we just wanted to share what's happening within the region. So I shared earlier that I am quite new with EDM Association, and I just put in some numbers here. We are data people. So at the start of working with EDMA, one of the things that I did was actually meet with the members across Asia and Australia. And one of the things that I've asked is, what support do you need? And most of the time, they would ask, how can we get engaged? Because unfortunately, most of the activities, the webinars, are scheduled outside APAC hours. And with the direction of EDMA being, well, EDMA 3.0, we are moving into a regional support and regional approach. And this is the solution that we came up with. So with the help of Andrew and myself, we've created the Regional Community Forum, and we've started in July 2024, and I've just listed some of the topics that we've covered and the speakers that we were able to tap. And the most fascinating thing there is the number on top, which shows the attendance that we had at the start, which is we just had 56 people online, on the call, on the forum. And because we saw the relevance it had within the community, we are now averaging 120 each month on our forums. So it's just a quick update, and we do encourage everyone moving forward, if you would like to join our forums, maybe just joining the conversation, or if you would like to get on camera, just message Andrea and myself, and we'll get in touch, we'll plan on it, and we hope to have your names and your topics shared with the community next year. So with this, I'll call on Pinder, because this is also one way to engage for APAC. Pinder?
We might take a seat if that's okay. Oh, so it's great to see everybody. I think I saw a few familiar faces from last week's Informatica World Series. So I'm going to spend a couple of minutes talking about the WDP Forum Women Data Professionals. So as you're probably aware, the EDM Association has some wonderful networks, and one of the great networks that I'm here to promote today is the Women Data Professionals Network. We've talked a lot about technical aspects of data management, data governance, but there's a piece around culture that we need to change as well, and specifically in the space for women. So as we sort of advance our skills, and we're using low code, no code, the kind of skill set based around those technical skills is almost kind of drifting away. It's now about building those skills around data literacy, being that individual that can kind of bridge the gap. So being essentially a data diplomat that can kind of get two disparate domains to start talking, so you can have those educated conversations around the life cycle of data. So as part of our APAC update, I just wanted to sort of inform you guys that we're here, we exist. The APAC region is a small slice of that pie, and I really want to increase that. So if any of you guys are joining, whether you want to be a mentor, a mentee, an ally, or you're interested in sort of networking and getting to know other women or men out there, then please do scan the QR code. In terms of a specific APAC update, so I'm the WDP lead for APAC, and I'm the co-chair with Nishu, who's based out in India. So that slice there for APAC is predominantly sort of with India, but we want to change that. So we want to get more people interested in the WDP across here over in Australia. So what we've done so far, so we launched the Global Mentoring Program, as you can see on the slides. We also mobilized data divas. So for those of you that watch Sex and the City, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands. Excellent. So we are essentially a group of women across the APAC region that like to talk about data. So we're the Carrie Bradshaws of data. We come together once a month, and we have a really great discussion around data. So Our session will be released, I think, next month, and it's all about AI demystified. So please join in. Spotlights are also super important to us. So towards the end of this year, we'll have Sean Code, who is the CDAO for AGL. So he's going to put his hand up and he's going to talk about the recruitment that he's doing and how he's sort of helped to aid women in that recruitment process. But without further ado, our spotlight for today, so if somebody can click to the next slide, is Sonia Adams. So she is our Chief Client Officer here at GHD. So I'd like to maybe hand over to Sonia to maybe introduce herself and maybe give some background into what GHD are doing around data.
Head explosion. Thanks so much. First of all, I'd like to compliment all the introverts in the room. When we first arrived this morning, I know that was absolutely uncomfortable for you, and I saw you all clinging to the walls. So well done for actually coming early to a networking event rather than arriving at the exact starting time. So what do I do at GHD? I'd like to say I work for Pinder, but that's not true. We work together on a lot of things. So for those of you who don't know GHD, what we are, we're a classic engineering, architecture, and environmental consulting firm. We do everything from architecture to zoology. It's a business that started in Australia, in Melbourne. We're 98 years old. We now have nearly 12,000 people in 15 countries. We're unlisted private, and about a third of our staff own all of the shares. So the trick is to get to work at GHD so you can participate in ownership. And it's not like a law firm where you have partners and nobody else gets a go. Everyone at any level in our business can be a shareholder. So it's terrific business. It feels like a big family, I think, culturally. And because of our roots and the way we've grown up, even though we've done a number of acquisitions around the world and we have hundreds of offices everywhere, you get this strong sense of owner mindset and absolute stewardship in every person in the business, that we're all really committed to our purpose, which is creating lasting community benefit with our clients. And the other thing that you see in us is, I may own the shares today, but my job is to hand them over to the next generation so they too can, I call it milking the cow. So while ever I own the shares, I get to milk the cow, and then I must give the cow to the next generation so they can milk it after me. So we're very careful, which in some ways makes us conservative, about making sure that we never bet the farm, that we do things in a way that preserves the integrity of the assets we have, which is mostly IP and people. And so we'll talk a little bit about what that means from a data stewardship point of view, and why we're probably not at the cutting edge and why we follow a little bit in some of these spaces.
Thank you, Sonia. So I think that's probably a neat segue into maybe the data work that we're doing in the business.
Well, why don't you tell us about the data office, because you're the guru now, you're in charge of it, then we can talk about the women's stuff. So you tell us a little bit about what the plan is, and I'll tell you how it works, because I'm the customer of your plan.
So we recently conducted a DCAM maturity assessment model.
2.2.
Yes, exactly. So Sean, wherever you are, thank you so much. There he is. I felt like screaming hallelujah when you were up here, so yeah, love your energy. But it was shocking because quite a few people in our function thought we would have been a lot higher. So I think almost the mindset of where we actually are versus the actual truth of where we are, there was a huge polarity between the two. So having done that DCAM maturity assessment, it was black and white, and it was very clear the steps that we needed to take as an organisation to get to the point where we want to be a data-driven organisation. And I can imagine all of you sat there, you know, your strategy, data as an asset is probably the first bullet point on your strategy out there. So in order for us to get there, we put a high-level sort of work around strategy together, which included some steps around our clients and markets data, which is probably the most important domain for us. So this is where we're sort of trying to align our enterprise applications, such as Salesforce, our BST, and also other applications that we've got, and trying to unify that architecture piece, because I feel that that is probably an area that we probably haven't focused on as much. But the whole point of doing all of what we're doing is to bring the business on board. And as Sonia mentioned, she doesn't come from a technical background, right? She's got a bachelor's degree. And for her to for it to resonate with her and her team, it's got to be in a language that makes sense. So I'm probably going to bounce back to you and then
Sure.
for you to give some insights.
So one of the things we talk about, so our global executive, there are 9 of us who run the company. I'm one of those 9. And so I look after the clients and market strategy, which includes the CMO reporting to me, all of our winning work, tenders and proposals, all of our partnering strategies, and our go-to-market strategies and our key client program globally. So I'm looking at the 10 years from now, where to play, which markets, which geographies, what products, what market demand. So I'm the nut job on the ELT who's always over here, and everyone else is worried about this month, are we making the number? And so it's a nice tension in the executive. But one of the things we've been really focused on as a team, don't worry, there are no fights. We have robust dialogue. I'm like, what about over there, the shiny thing? And they're like, how about we make the number? But one of the things we've been really focused on as a group is this thing called upper quartile performance. And you can imagine when you're a private company and closely held, and you make good money and good profit, which you've done for 100 years, you can be very complacent. And you can think that you've got magic sauce and that you're drinking the Kool-Aid and all the listed companies out there are just feeding the beast and their numbers are bullshit. So we've been really focused on upper quartile. And we've had to do a lot of soul searching around benchmarking. So you can use a throwaway phrase like upper quartile, and we've really pressed our CFO around what does upper quartile look like. And then, of course, the people function has had to start thinking about what is upper quartile. My functions had to define what's upper quartile, technical services and the product areas. And so now we've started, the DCAM assessment is a scorecard, one of the scorecards in the CIO's portfolio, and it's not complementary. One of the scorecards in my area is voice of the client. So we're running a really big strategy around client experience, and we've spent many years baselining what the current felt experience is. So we've been looking at NPS scores, Net Promoter Scores. We've been looking at total client value, lifetime client value. We've been looking at brand strength. So a whole bunch of indicators. All of these things have data sets that sit behind them. And so for us to figure out what matters in the space is, first of all, who matters to us, which clients, which communities, which markets. What is it that good looks like for them? And therefore, how do we measure what our input into their good experience is? And that includes the employee experience. So we're measuring a truckload of stuff across multiple data sets and the tools to get there. So we've been through in the last couple of years a Salesforce implementation. Who's done a Salesforce implementation? Still alive. Yay. A lot of grey hair. So we've done a Salesforce implementation, which we had to do to create a global collaboration platform around clients. So now we can manage our key clients across boundaries, which we could never do. So we can measure that. We've just implemented our voice of the client, online client feedback and surveying is now going through Salesforce, another set of data. Of course, in 15 regions, we have every piece of privacy and GDPR compliance you can imagine in the marketing world. While we were doing the Salesforce implementation, we also started ABM and did a site core overhaul. We have 12,000 pages of web content. And we're currently doing an AI in tenders and proposals implementation as well, because we touch 20,000 tenders a year. So you can imagine if AI works as it should with our first cab off the rank 1,200 pieces of standard information, I ought to be able to save $30 million a year in time costs. So that's my world, and that's why she matters.
So you can see how AI would have helped in this conversation. So this is like a real-time, at work conversation. Copilot gives us the ability to track all of those data points that Sonia just churned out, right? And these are the types of discussions that we need to have with our stakeholders out there. I'm a very introverted, IT geek, right? That's me, that's my background. Whereas Sonia is she's a complete opposite. But we've managed to have a conversation there, and she's given me so much insight into what's happening and the data points and what they mean for her. Go out there, build your relationships, have these sorts of conversations. And these are the sorts of, and I hate to call them softer skills, but these are the things that we want our women to be capable and comfortable doing.
So maybe we'll just do a quick advert. So I'm the chair of our Women in GHD. I'm the executive sponsor for that globally. Pinder's the chair. Our sole objective is to get more women into STEAM careers, to get more women into diverse teams, so that we can have a better rounded conversation with people who are both listening for the unsaid, listening to what is said, technical people who can do the work in the back room, and then people can interpret it to the stakeholders. And so that's where this diversification of team is really critical. And I think women have got some superpowers in how they listen, interact and read the room. And that's not to saying that men aren't good at it, but I think when you put the two genders together and a diverse range of other thoughts in the room, you get a fuller picture of what you hear and you're able to paint a fuller picture together.
Thank you. I think we're going to leave it there.